Peace. This is your man, Honorable October 9. This is the Art of Thinking Out Loud live. Common Sense Analytics. I know I'm a little later than I said I was going to be, but that's how they do me. They block me a lot. But I wanted to kind of, talk about the things I had discussed previously. The situation at the football game, that fake shit. I mean, we just gonna call it what it is. That's just that, We ain't gonna, play no games. Dude didn't even get led off in an ambulance. He got led off in what looked like a U-Haul truck with no type of lettering on the side. Kettering is the official, healthcare provider. Wasn't one of their trucks. Wasn't a UC ambulance. So. And then the dude driving had a suit on. What was this? A Mason, a gangster? Come on, man. Can't play with people's common sense. So, that's how that go. But we're going to check out one of my interviews on Infinite Plane Radio with my man, Tim Osmond. We were discussing a myriad of things. So just check out how deep the rabbit hole goes. Like I said, man, I have, high level conversations about this whole situation that we're in. It's not something that we take lightly. I mean, we see through this and we have real discussions. It's not a situation where, we're just sitting around talking about conspiracy theories. Nah, this is high level conversation. So I'm gonna let you check out just, how our conversations go.
But you know what? But that's the reason I said, just like when I called the last time, that's the reason I said I think that with this whole meta thing that they're giving us now, I think that the reason they're packaging it to us, and when I say packaging it to us with the glasses and everything and saying, oh, well, you could buy property in the metaverse. Snoop owns a house in the metaverse and he owns a couple companies in the metaverse and he has all this going on, yada, 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 with these other celebrities and all that. Yep. I think they're selling you the package because this now we're looking at, okay, I'll look at it, okay, I'll put it like this. First, they could sell you time.
Yeah.
Once you made cell phones and you could make calls and you had to have time on your phone.
They sell you time.
They could sell you time then. Something that you already have naturally.
Mm-hmm.
When they took plastic bottles and they made waters and they made it to where you can now buy water. One of the most abundant things on the earth.
Yep.
That. And then they sell you air. When you go to put some air in your car tires, you pay to put air in your car tires.
Wait until they are going to they do tax your air. Level. They use the warm air tax you, the air that you breathe.
And the next level is hell. Now it's like shit. Let's control and tax how they think on a deeper level. People say it, but it's like now we can actually see it and can actually explain it. This is it. This meta is it. When I say they're giving it to you in a box, that's all they're doing. Your world is meta. When you showed the video where the guy was talking about how the student wanted to be known as a cat or something, and the student took, a dump or a piss on the floor, and it's like he thought it was so ridiculous, like, what are we doing? That's the metaverse, meaning That's your reality you're living in right now. All that crazy stuff is going on out here. When they with them giving you these glasses, all they doing is finding a way to make money off of it.
Yep.
They put your ass in a box in the black mirror once again.
Think outside the box.
Absolutely. And
always
and
think outside
it's so hardwiring into us that where people are going to be addicted to it. And I think all of this goes along with other broader agendas, Agenda 2030, getting people acclimated to the idea that you never leave your house because the environment's bad enough. You're just making it worse. So the metaverse is like a replacement for the universe. And it's a place where you're not going to have actual freedom and options. It might look like infinite options, but if they curate it, they do indeed control your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's just all they're gonna do is, I think, like with the whole quarantine thing, I think that was like I said, I think it was kind of a soft walk, and they got you used to being in the house for a while. So they wanted to see what you were going to do while you were in the house for a while. What kind of creative things would you come up with? And then the thing is, they started guiding people's creativity, because they started out presenting things to you. Like artists started doing concerts, like the versus battles, where they started having artists come out and do these concerts online, like, and everything. And then you have more artists that were doing shows online that were being monetized. It was just, they were seeing how they could actually test markets. And now it's like with the metaverse, which, Facebook turned it meta, like, and everything. Now it's like, okay, we know what we can do. We know how to package it. We already have it together. We just wanted to see how you would fare being in the house for a while. Now let us give you another option for being in the house for a while. Not only would you be in the house for a while, but you can be in your own, like, world. You could actually have your own property. And then that's the thing. And this is something too. What it takes me to is this. Like, how you go to the Google Play Store and you download an app, and it says that this app has in-app purchases.
Yep.
Yes.
I think your in-app purchases are when you buy houses, when you buy stocks, when you buy Bitcoin, when you buy in the metaverse. Like I said, all they did was they found a way to package crazy ass reality that we live in right now. They found a way to put that shit in a box and package it to you so that they could sell it. That's it. They selling your ass air, water, time, all this other shit. Now they're selling you thoughts.
Yeah, you're right about that. They are commodifying and making everything has a fee attached to it. And what you described sounds like the movie Ready Player One, where the world's just a global slum. Everything's just the standard of living. Everything looks just so trashy, but the people are plugged into these headsets. So it's almost like a wave of drug addiction, allowing people to escape. But the drug is the media.
And it's just like when you mentioned the show Upload. When you mentioned the show Upload, I had wanted to bring that show up to you, like, some months ago. But it's like, I think that, okay, like I said, this reality we live in right now, for what it is, it's becoming to where now you can't even say what's real and what's not, because we now have guidelines by law for, those type of things. Like, you can't even, okay, as a heterosexual man, I can't make a mistake and, misgender somebody, or they may take it as being offensive. And it's not even something I did intentional yet. It can
weaponized
be
relationships.
That's the world that we live in now. So it's like, now not only are like your thoughts being weaponized, your intentions are being weaponized. So it's like now your entire life, to another degree, has become a vehicle of someone else's control. And when I thought about Upload, if they, like I said, we live in this crazy ass world already, where a little boy or whatever, or a little girl can say that they're a cat. They identify as a cat. They could piss and shit on the floor, right there. And it's like, because the school didn't give them a litter box. And this isn't looked at as crazy. We're actually going to court for something like this, and it becomes big news. When we live in that type of world, then it's like, yeah, it's bizarro world,
Well,
and it's
there's
like
a
that.
Part
Yeah,
of thinking
there's a
out
pattern
loud.
here.
your metaverse.
They took us here. They started with safe spaces, and safe spaces were a way that you could avoid being criticized by anybody, but it was safe space from right-wing memes, people who didn't believe in climate change or whatever. And then it became social distancing, which is a way of the state mandating safe spaces, mandating that you don't go to other people's homes. So there you have, I think the space age is actually the age of spacing us out from one another.
Right.
Spacing us out, right?
And then it's the
Like,
safe space age as well, because it's going to be,
like just
Yep.
That's just like with the whole don't look up, don't look up anything, don't look up this on the internet, don't look up that on the internet, and also another meaning to that with the whole don't look up. Think about it. Most of society, I'm putting all this stuff is the reason I can go so much on this is because all this is stuff I've written in a book that I'm doing. But it's the fact that most of us are looking down most of the time at like our cell phones, staring into the black mirror. So it's like we're looking down all the time. Don't look up. Meaning if you're looking up, not even at the sky, but just up in front of you, then it's like you're actually
Paying attention.
you're paying some attention to what's really going on. If you're staring at the phone, then you're staring into what's being fed to you
Right.
all
Right,
the time,
okay,
and you're looking
okay.
down into it.
I
yeah,
go
Yeah, you're
hard.
looking
down
down into it.
through your reality filter. Don't look up at reality
Right.
itself.
And you know what else I found out? Have you noticed? I don't know if you know where you stay at.
Right.
If they're showing like
Chiropractors.
a lot of chiropractor commercials, but I know here in
Cincinnati.
we have like three like chiropractors that have bought up all the time on the damn TV, and then you have all these other ones I'm starting to see on these other channels. I think that the reason you're seeing all these damn chiropractors starting to get a lot of business is because with people looking down so much, a lot of people's spines are out of whack.
Yep.
You start to give yourself pains in the neck, which could give you headaches.
It's
all
in my
type
book.
of pains in the back, in the groin, everything else, your legs. It could set them off. I think that our cell phone culture, this like smartphone culture, has given us more than just these. When they talk about, sending out the radioactive stuff and everything and all of that. No, I think it's giving us physical ailments because we're always crouched over. And I
Over our
think that's why you're
phones.
seeing like a lot of different chiropractors and a lot of masseuses. People have to go and get massages and everything. Man, you got folks who don't even do anything athletic. They don't go work out, don't do nothing. I
At
understand
all.
stress and all of that, but it's like their bodies are now in the shape of somebody who actually needs a real massage, and a lot of it is from just looking at your damn
Looking
cell
down
phone,
at
having
your
your back,
phone.
your neck bent down all day.
Always
to
like
where
this.
you're not looking up.
Right.
It's a
That's
business. It's
a
like
great
yeah,
point.
it's almost like
I
people.
go in.
It's turned certain businesses into like ambulance chasers.
Yeah, and it's going to be exacerbated by lockdown culture. And lockdown culture is the norm. I used to talk about how, okay, you look at the number of hours that you play video games. The average person growing up, how many hours does the average person spend in a simulated outer space environment, no less, sitting in a basement,
Hours.
not really leaving, hours at a time? To me, the whole video game culture itself was
I was
preparation
just
for
about
this.
to say that the video game culture started there.
It got us ready.
Simulation as replacement and getting you acclimated to sitting down for long periods of time.
Yep.
And of course, this
Acclimation.
idea of our bodies contorting, yeah, that's probably intentional. It's like H.G. Wells' The Time Machine.
Yep.
They want the masses to become the Morlocks or be locked down underground, and eventually we will reflect that in our appearances.
1984.
Right. And you know what? I had somebody recently within the last few days. They were talking about Mars and everything, and then when I heard you earlier and the other caller talking about like Warner Von Braun, and everything. It's like I think that that's the missing link is that the
People don't
general
connect it.
public doesn't know these people, and no matter how much we spit these names and we say and we tell people to go and research these people, it's not important enough to them. I think that it's like okay, I'm gonna give you an example of something that I think mainstream media took from us, and I'll say us meaning like those of us who talk online and we just kind of ask questions and we like discuss things. Remember when they came with the commercials where they were doing what's his name that went up in the capsule and looked at the earth?
August Picard.
Yeah, Shatner.
And
August Picard.
yeah, no, not Shatner. The guy from a while ago. Damn, I forgot his name. Right. You know who I'm talking. He went up in the capsule. Him and his brother.
Bezos and his brother went up there. That was before that. It was Richard
The
Branson.
guy from a long time ago. That they did the Hennessy commercial or something where he went up
August
and looked
Picard.
out the
Oh
capsule.
yeah,
at the shape of
August
the earth.
Picard. August Picard. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It was
August
water
Picard.
when we went up
August
behind them.
Picard.
Yes.
I think that his name came up so much because when I went back and I looked over the analytics on Google,
Yeah.
his name was one of the most searched for a while, and I think that's why they started making the commercials about it because it goes back to when I did the last call and I said they'll put out information to then make us start to sound cartoonish because you'll put it on a commercial for maybe like some alcohol. Know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
something
So
where
for
it kinda
example,
has-
for people who have not seen this, August Picard was the first person to go up to the stratosphere, and he used basically a pressurized capsule, and he said
Right.
the Earth looked. He didn't see any curve. He didn't see any curve. He
Right.
said it appeared flat with upturned edges. Whatever he said, it didn't curve down. However, this was being used by so many flat earthers, and it was brought up so often that Wikipedia changed it, and they
They
said
changed it.
August Picard was the first man to see the curve of the Earth,
Mm.
and then
Liars.
the commercial came out, and so I'm thinking, yeah, there's a
Fahrenheit
connection here. They
451
want
style
to
censoring.
control our perceptions, and sometimes
Control
they find
our
out we're looking
perception.
at something, and they have to bury it. We've seen this happen very, very recently. On the 22nd of February, Elton John nearly crashed his plane, and there were witnesses. And so there was this headline about the horrifying
Mhm.
spectacle of Rocket Man nearly dying on 2/22. Well, coincidentally, this is 2 years from the day that Rocket Man, Mad Mike Hughes, did his launch. And I think that we've noticed this actually, that they are continually doing stories to drown out things they don't want people to find. So
Yo, let me just insert something real quick while it's on my mind. Rest in peace to Mad Mike Hughes. You know, they did drown out the Mad Mike Hughes launch with the Elton John propaganda. And this was all surrounding this whole Rocket Man ritual. I might connect dots that shouldn't be connected, but I know how I know how perception works. So I know that when you hear terms like Rocket Man, it's always connected to something else. Fast forward. Migos. Takeoff. AKA Rocket Man. Maybe I'm just Stretch Armstrong yoga stretching out there, but correlations. Let's go back.
So if you search Rocket Man Crash 222, you're more likely to find Elton John. And I don't think these are coincidences. It's part of the faux war.
Right.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. What it kind of makes me think about is what it kind of does is it gives premise to the whole Mandela situation, where it's like with the whole
Mandela effect.
I thought about when I think about the whole Mandela like effect situation, and the
Check
reason
this
that I'm
out.
bringing that up is because whenever you're dealing with like any type of history, it seems like anything Mandela affected, quote unquote, is always something that only somebody of a certain age bracket can really embrace. It's not something that you'll have maybe, okay, it's not something that like you'll have my son who'll be 30. It's not something, or my other son that's like, you know what I'm saying, 20. It's not something you'll have somebody say that it's like they can recognize one in their generation.
Right.
This is always something from back
Our
when we
generation.
were like, you know what I'm saying, children. And that's why I think I think that it's almost like the Mandela effect is almost to me like a lightweight ripple psyop they sent out years ago to see what it would do, and this is the bounce back effect. When you started having people saying, oh, well, things have changed and everything, I'm thinking like, okay, do people realize that like businesses rebrand?
Come on.
And they don't have to tell the public.
Sure
But hell,
don't.
if you don't go and look it up, you'll never know. They may change the name of something. That's just for things where the name, where people say the name has changed or whatever. And it's like, okay, so what? Shit, if the name has changed, the name has changed. So what? What does that mean? You still haven't showed me where it's like, okay, I will believe the Mandela effect. I want all the damn Mandela effect smoke because I went and looked up stuff and did my own personal Mandela effects that I saw off the stuff that I saw on the internet.
It's a psyop.
I could debunk all of it. So I think what it is, it was a lightweight ripple psyop they sent out years ago, and it's like what we're seeing now is a lot of people didn't know about how businesses rebrand. A lot of people don't know about how they can change information. When the internet came available to the public where we could all be on it, like I said, the most dangerous thing is that we can all talk amongst each other.
Right.
But we also have to realize that it's like, even though we're talking to like one another, they still control this vehicle that we're talking over.
Yep.
So they can censor information. Like you said, August Picard said one thing, Google changed it to another. And I think right now, what we're seeing is this Fahrenheit 451, where they're getting rid of information. When they got rid of all the physical books and they started telling people to get rid of all the physical books and everything, it gave prevalence to when they start changing things online like Wikipedia. Now the whole world, now we live in a basic Wikipedia type world where it's like you can change facts now. That's the reason we now have, you can't even just say facts now, because now we have terms like alternative facts, alternative truth. What the hell is a damn alternative truth? See, it's like in these scenarios, nobody wants to be wrong. So it's like what it does, it keeps a social confusion as to where you'll never come to the truth if you're part of the general consensus, because you're given a script to where nobody is ever wrong. We're just supposed to just let everything go as it is. Don't question. Live in this box where they sell you this crazy ass world that you already live in. Stare at your black mirror and take your commands and live through them. And when you decide to die, I'm gonna tell you something. And then they gonna start selling your ass your own expiration date, like the show Upload. You ain't even gonna have to wait until you're gonna quote unquote
listen to this.
I think that you're gonna have a choice as to where you could decide to basically donate your physical health while you go ahead and you let them do whatever they're going to do. I don't want to make any type of assumptions like, upload your consciousness, whatever. But I think what you're basically going to do is what they're getting you ready for is like the Matrix, basically physically for real, where it's like you'll really think you're dead. And your ass will really still physically be alive somewhere while they're basically sucking your ass dry like a battery. But you've already sold yourself because in the metaverse, you can buy real estate, you can do everything because you can have a whole life. People have a wife and children in the metaverse now. Yep. That's the reason I'm saying, why couldn't you do like the show Upload, Tim, and say, okay, I say like, Tim, next week, man, I'm tired. I got enough money. I'm going to go ahead and die. I'm going to go ahead and, and just upload myself.
Exit the world stage a little bit by going up early.
The planet.
Exit the world stage.
I don't know this, but that's what I'll become. And it's like, and I was trying to like tell somebody about that when we was talking about this Mars conversation. I was saying like, man, listen, you're not going to Mars. What they're going to do, man, they're going to ship your ass somewhere, probably over to like China underground somewhere, and one of those big ass amusement parks that they got underground. You can look them up on Google, all that type of stuff. And I look at it like, if they can make a civilization with a big ass Disney style world underground, why couldn't they make Mars? Any place. So it's like they'll sell you these tickets, they'll
pay
send you
attention
somewhere. Maybe Mars may be even outside of our perimeter of this quote unquote ice wall, which I don't believe it's an ice wall. I think it's just a restricted perimeter that we can go. Mars may be somewhere outside that perimeter, or Mars might be right here somewhere where they just have your ass somewhere like a gulag.
Yeah, good this. And you brought up Upload, and this idea in the show Upload where people are having their consciousness uploaded into this metaverse before their body expires. Yeah, that's, to me, is almost like they're bringing back the notion of limbo, where you have family members who died unbaptized,
limbo, comas.
So you can pay the church and maybe buy them a better situation up there. And in Upload, they actually have in-app purchases.
Yes,
so their loved ones,
like I said, in-app purchases
for their dead relatives in the metaverse.
Right.
Upload, they actually have in-app purchases.
Ain't that what I said?
Loved ones here on Earth are paying for their dead relatives in the metaverse, to have their little experiences up there.
That's the reason I said they selling you your crazy world that you already live in. They put it in a box through some damn glasses or whatever. And like I said, I think the next thing is this. It's not even going to be to where
pay attention.
You even have to have on your glasses. Because it's like, remember when we first had like 3D movies where you had to have the little red and blue lens glasses?
Watch me break this down. Watch how I break this down.
I think that it's like what we're looking at. We're in that paper glasses phase right now. I think it's basically going to be, and I put this in my book, I think it's basically going to be to where when you get logged into your Wi-Fi signal, so to speak, your hotspot, that's going to be your personal meta, your hotspot. And you'll be able to basically move it and take it with you wherever you want to go in the house. Like it could be 5 of y'all in the house, you, your wife, and the 3 kids.
Pay attention.
Each one of y'all can really have your own particular destination, your own world within the house through your Wi-Fi signal, so to speak.
I think you're onto something.
Smartphones for dumbass people.
Resemblances.
Buy my book. Comes out.
Cell phone, iPhone.
Yep.
I think you're onto something. Listen to the phonetic resemblances here. You got cell phone, iPhone. I think these technologies were all about getting us into our matrix pods.
Yep.
Self phone.
I've been saying that for years, man, and it's like, and that's the reason it's.
Y'all don't hear me.
Yep.
I think these technologies were all about getting us into our matrix pods.
Y'all don't hear me.
Yep. I've been saying that for years, man, and it's like, and that's the reason it's like I always felt like I said, man, even though I can call and and like talk about it. I started writing a book and just putting these thoughts into it because it's like, where else could it go? These are just those logical questions, and
Come
that's
on.
why, like I said, if we can see things like I was talking about the kid when you were showing the guy going off about the kid in school, like and everything. These things are happening in this world right now that we live in, our physical world. If they can put that in a box and sell it to you, and then have in-app purchases that actually
Right.
tap into how you think, how you process information,
Pay attention.
they've won the game. And then they can sell you an expiration date because we already know that your birth certificate, like and everything, has money on it. It's a big ass account number with a CUSIP. So it's like all they have to do, they get you to sign your own will, like and all of that, sign your own death date. You decide when you want to be uploaded. They go ahead, take you, do whatever they're going to do, and
Pay
then
attention.
they take your body, put your ass in a pod somewhere, and use you until your physical body is no more to use. And then they'll probably take and use their slush for something, start making hamburgers out of you, sell you to the there's going to be no waste. Soylent Green.
I'm a nut.
Yes,
Soylent
it's
Green,
the
you
ultimate
heard me.
No waste. Soylent Green.
Yes, it's the ultimate in recycling, and that's where we're headed. And the ultimately
Go
about
green.
the green world order.
Green
we
World
covered a lot
Order.
of great material here, great stuff, and
Yeah,
I look
man.
forward to the book that you've been working on, because we need books on these topics. All the conspiracy books you're ever going to find in the major chain stores, for the most part, are going to be what I would call blue pill conspiracy theories.
Blue
These aren't
pill
reality or
compromise.
decodes. These aren't breakdowns of the
Guardrail.
script on the level that we do here. Are going to be what I would call blue pill conspiracy theories. These aren't reality or decodes. These aren't breakdowns of the script on the level that we do here.
And this is something I found out just with like the book, just with doing some research when I was first like just kind of giving people a little insight on what I was talking about with a couple books I'm doing. Like I'm doing one about the world stage and the things that go on like around us and everything. And when I was kind of throwing that around and showing people some things, like a couple of publishers and all of that,
Pay attention.
they kind of got quiet. So I decided, like, you know what? I said, okay, I'll take and I'll do Amazon for what I can, but it's like, other than that, I'll just do it myself. I'll do the physical copies and the digital copies myself. For the ones that they don't want to do. But I'm publishing and doing all this stuff myself, man, because I don't want them. Because one company I showed my book about,
Autodidactic.
just the little small part I gave them,
Pay
because
attention.
one company I showed my book about smartphones, just the little small myself, man, because
Yo, this following quote is this is why my book, Smartphones for Dumbass People, is so important, because in order to get your book published, you have to send parts of it to, people so that they can review it and things like that to see if it fits their format for their publishing company. Well, I guess what I was saying was a little too over the top in certain parts. So if I would have put out the book through one of these publishing companies, my book would have looked like government documents with a bunch of black splotches through it, or it just would have been short as hell. So I chose not to take the short road. I decided I would do it myself. Shout out to my sister, Angela King Stanton. She inspired me because of her being an author, her writing her books, putting them out, being a #1 author. Know what I'm saying? It's like, and telling her story. Smartphones for Dumbass People is my story. Recoding personal autonomy is my story. Uh, Religiosities of pop culture sociology is my story. The Common Connections Conundrum is my story. So these are books I'm publishing. I just had to throw that out there just so people wouldn't think I was capping when I say I'm writing multiple books. No, I'm really doing that because that's what I do. I just sit and write a lot. And I also connect with other people of like minds who also see through some of these things. And I deal with people on different levels. This is my partner, Tim Osmond, Infinite Plane Radio. You know, we go down a lot of rabbit holes, and we're having a very deep discussion, as you can see. But I'm gonna let y'all go ahead and check out the rest of this. But this is when I'm talking about when I'm trying to get my book, Smartphones for Dumbass People, published, and I submitted it to a couple other companies. Well, they wasn't quite seeing my vision. And like I said, if I would have put it out through them, it would have looked like a government document all blotched out. But let me let y'all check out what I went through.
I don't want them, because one company I showed my book about smartphones, just a little small part I gave them. The editing that they wanted me to do was almost like 30%. So I'm like, no, I don't. I want to give everybody my complete thoughts. So it's like I'm gonna do it myself so that I can make sure I don't have to take out anything.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's important because our reality has been curated and gatekept even before the internet. You know, to get through publishers, there's just levels of hoops you have to jump over, compromises. And you know, I just took up a side gig, a side job for to actually start this weekend because I don't want to compromise this channel's integrity in order to make money. I don't want to say I have to censor people because they'll kill. For the most part, I want to be a free speech absolutist, and that means that this channel's operating costs are going to come from somewhere outside of these platforms because they will never allow us in here in our pure form.
Yep.
And we're doing a pure critique. We're doing anthropology. We're in the sense that we are looking at things as they are, and for that reason, I can't use their bias in order to filter what we're talking about.
And that's the reason I tell people that it's such a scary world that we're living in for real. When it's like, when you can see, just going back to the whole Chris Rock, Will thing, when you can see people sit there, something that's supposed to be a real quote unquote event.
Y'all thought that bullshit was real.
And then it's like, nobody speaks of the intention. Nobody speaks of the violent act. Nobody speaks of, nobody kind of came, nobody in the play, in the whole scenario that we were given, nobody came to like Chris Rock's stage. So it's like it played out. Nobody came in the play, in the whole scenario that we were given, nobody came to like
hold on. I said it sounds like money because, you know, I get notifications for different little things, and I do digital marketing, so sometimes I get notifications, but I ain't stunting. I'm just saying that that's anonymous money that comes 24 hours a day. Normally I would be asleep right now because it's actually like 3 o'clock in the morning here in Cincinnati. But let me go back to what I was doing. Check this out.
A Chris Rock stage. So it's like it played out as a social drama. In the whole scenario that we were given, nobody came to like a Chris Rock stage. So it's like it played out as a social drama that looked bad. It looked sad. So I'm like, we're constantly given these scenarios that never show people in a good light. And I tell people all the time, that's something that we see a lot too. You don't see anything on TV that's like empowering, or you don't see much that really edifies you. Most things that you see, you're watching crime dramas, you're watching comedies, or you're watching drama shows that are still about people that are going through conflicts. You're never watching. It's never anything that's really edifying. So you're always just giving this frequency, and I think that that particular frequency has something to do with how they affect how we spend, because it's like for some reason everything that tends to have like a certain modulation to it, like a certain frequency. I see
Pay attention.
like correlations in between things. This is always where you see the money making coming in. So I think that it's like we're kept at a certain level, remedially as well as emotionally, so that we'll need to be medicated in like some type of sense. Either we're using recreational drugs, or we're using state appointed drugs through things they'll give us for depression, because I think they keep us in depression because that depression state is the state where it's like we spend the most money.
You know what? I just want to stop that real quick and just say something. There's a real big push about mental health issues, and I just want to kind of, take y'all temperature, so to speak. Have you noticed that this whole push for mental health awareness and everything didn't really start until just a minute ago? And you know what I mean by like a minute ago. You know what I'm saying? A couple years ago, whatever, whatnot. But nobody cared about anybody's mental health before certain legislature was up. Nobody cared about this whole mental health thing before we started talking about making certain drugs, certain medications, certain prescribed, prescriptions from doctors for mental illness. Let me tell you. Illness. I'm just saying that this whole push for mental awareness is some new shit. It's more propaganda than it's gonna propel or prop us up on any type of level. Because the reason I say this whole mental health thing is kind of a double-edged sword is because on one hand, it looks like awareness for people who may be going through something, people who may have past issues, that have come to their current life, whatever, things that they can't get over, things they have to learn how to live with, whatnot. Now, if we were to be realistic, everybody has mental health issues. I've been wanting to say that for the longest. Everybody has mental health issues. There are just degrees. Some people are, they need more help than others. Then you have those of us who function. I call us, we're the functioning. functioning ... whatever you put in back of that, but we're those who function. And I just think that this whole mental health thing is more propaganda to get your mind kind of prepped for government issued drugs. And when I say government issued drugs, y'all know what I'm talking about. When you get the different little, I don't want to say the names of them because, you know, they already tripping. But the names of the different drugs, like Ritalin, you know, when they say your child has ADHD or something like that, you know, when an adult is in a situation where they have an issue, where like one of us have an issue, we may get prescribed something different. You know, any one of these other current drugs that are kind of being used as, and the reason I call them drugs because that's just what they are. You know what I'm saying? That are prescribed yet still used a lot as street drugs. I won't say more. I should say more. They get used a lot more as street drugs than they do medically prescribed. Why? Because what what the mainstream media won't tell you is that this country, America, as well as other countries close and surrounding it, some of their main produce, what they produce, is illegal substances, cocaine, whatever. This has been secretly helping to fund, helping to supply, helping to keep part of our system afloat. It's not mentioned as far, it's always mentioned they always mention mob activities and, you know what I'm saying, other stuff, yada yada yada. This isn't mob as in like the Italian mob and stuff like that. No, they always allow that in American culture. But what they don't tell you about is they don't tell you about like the South Americans, the Mexicans, Cubans, and other Latin countries that are still to this day top, not just suppliers, but actually help fund this corporation that we call America. Because all those other names they gave us, why do you think that this company, that, heard what I said, a Freudian slip, this company, this country, why do you think this country goes through so many name changes right before our eyes? The USA, the United States of America, the US, the United States, America. You know, every time you turn around, it can be used. And I know people may say, oh, that's just all part of the same thing. No, it's not. These are different companies. These are different companies. These are different owners rebranding something. When we were talking about the whole Mandela situation, a lot of it is rebranding. Before the general public knew about rebranding, it was still being done all the time. It's just now it's a big money making thing because it's all tied into marketing, which I told y'all the Nazis have become experts on marketing. You know, they knew how to take marketing and use it to affect people on a larger scale. This is why when I tell folks, when you get caught up in thinking that television and what you see on the television is your end all, like that's just it. Like what they say is facts, truth, it's the end all. No, the original purpose for television was propaganda. Look it up. The original purpose for television was propaganda, mind control. So, with that being said, if knowing television was used for propaganda, mind control, that's the reason you have channels. They what? Uh, channels, programs. They channel you into different situations, and they program you. Each program, and that's why, like I say, even if you're not watching the television, just having one in your house, you're still being programmed. Because I don't know how deep these rabbit holes go. Televisions are not just one-way transmitters where you're receiving this image, this audio, and you think that's all that it is. No, it actually goes both ways. That television, that's why it's now a smart TV, because it's smart enough to watch your ass, smart enough to listen to your ass. Get my book when it comes out, Smartphones for Dumbass People. But I'm a, I'm gonna fall back for a minute and go back into my talk with my man Tim Miles.
And we don't. And when you're depressed, you're not paying attention. So you're basically just grabbing and not even looking at what you're grabbing for.
I agree with all that, and I think that also, like you said, the movies all set the stage. They have this idea that, for the most part, man's going to screw it all up. So all the science fiction start post reset. It always assumes we're headed towards some major calamity, catastrophe. So that's kind of built into it. And to me, that's just, why is that the starting point for a future? And then you couple that with 2020. What was their response? Go lock down.
And you know what else I thought about? You know what else I thought about? Jokingly, we were talking about the future, and somebody brought up the Jetsons, and I was like, hell, man, the Jetsons represent the whole going green movement to the fullest. I was like, shit, ain't nobody even on the earth anymore. You living up in these big ass towers that sit like way up off the ground. We never saw the ground in the Jetsons.
And ain't nobody black on the Jetsons.
The earth was a dirty place, I guess, because we never saw the ground. And the earth was a dirty place, I guess, because we never saw the ground. And
wasn't no black people for real either, quote unquote, black people. You know what I mean? Folks who look like us, not for real. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. And you wasn't on the ground. You was up in the sky. So what's going on with the ground? And we got all these movies about people leaving the earth. I'm going to tell y'all something real quick. Just this whole thing about leaving the earth. Ooh, I ain't even going to go down that rabbit hole. Damn, don't do it. I ain't going to go down that rabbit hole. Not tonight. Nope, show ain't. You ain't going to get me into that. We ain't going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. But I'll say this. You know what? We're going to jump on that tomorrow night. I'm going to let y'all go ahead and check out some of this, and then I'm going to be out of here.
And when I made that point, everybody just looked at me real crazy. I said, y'all never thought about that? Like, everybody was flying, and you never saw anybody fall all the way to the ground. Even if something happened, they fall down a little bit, somebody would catch it or something. Nobody ever fell to the ground, not that I can remember any episode.
That's a great point. Because as we move into the space age, they're getting us acclimated to the idea that we don't even belong here. We are aliens to the Earth. And, of course, this is all going to be exacerbated by climate change, to where lockdowns for the climate is becoming a thing. And so what's going to happen next, I think, is the next level of PPE helmets, like the
Yep.
Jetsons, fishbowl over the head. And I actually see them wearing
Yep.
those.
Yep. I'm gonna tell you. I think that it's like all of everything that we were given as you know, predictive programming
Pay
from
attention.
back in the days when we were children. I think that it's just that it was given to us in a kind of primal stage because it looked all crazy, like, you know, cartoonish. Going
Pay
back to that,
attention.
it was on the cartoons, and I think that's that's one of the biggest hidden links that people, the biggest correlations that people aren't making is the fact that when I think about outer space and you give it a real honest deep dive into
Check this out.
everything that you knew about like outer space, if it wasn't the school you knew about like outer space.
All right, hold up. I had to stop there for a minute because I'm about to in this call. I'm about to go kind of deep at this point when I talk about outer space. But what I want to say is this: how can I put this? You know what? Fuck it. They created this concept of outer space because they know there is an outer space, but they can't get to it. They know that they're contained within here. They're contained. There is a glass ceiling. Hillary Clinton talks about it all the time. Google Hillary Clinton glass ceiling. She keeps using that analogy, and she keeps talking about there's more cracks in it, more cracks in it, more cracks in it. Fast forward Elon Musk. Fast forward CERN. You know what? I ain't even gonna go down that rabbit hole right now. So the hell I ain't. I'm gonna say that tomorrow too, but I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all check out the rest of this interview with my man Tim Osmond from Infinite Playing Radio. Saying
Deep dive into everything that you knew about. When I think about outer space and you give it a real honest deep dive into self, everything that you knew about like outer space, if it wasn't the school telling you, then you had cartoons showing you somebody's artistic rendition.
Rendition.
That information that the school gave you would look like if it had flying saucers and other stuff in it. So it basically sparks your imagination as to being ready for anything cartoonish they were going to give you to come.
This is why I tell you what I just said right there. I'm gonna go back a little bit so when I started back up. But what I just said right there, when I said as we were children and they gave us cartoons, cartoons became our basic operating system, meaning they were basically feeding us what they wanted us to know this reality was to be shaped into because they operate on different sciences. They know that everything starts in the mind and becomes out here. If we were to just not accept all of this shit out here, it would cease to exist. And that's the greatest secret. But that's tomorrow night. That's tomorrow night. I'm going to go into that tomorrow night. I'm getting too deep, see? You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't about to trick me into that shit tonight. I'm finna go back into this interview.
Saucers and other stuff in it, so it gave you would look like if it had flying saucers and other stuff in it. So it basically sparks your imagination as to being ready for anything cartoonish they were going to give you to come. So now we go fast forward. They tell you all about it's made out of diamonds with like rain sideways. They could tell you about a planet that looks like Earth that's over here, and a planet that looks like Earth that's over here. But the atmosphere is just like this, and give you all the scientific equations to make it work. Why? Because they make all the variables.
Yep.
And if you made the game, then it's like you control what can be made in the game. They put it back in the box again. So it's like when they give you these planets and they give you this space, like and all that, this information, this basic information as a kid, and then they give you cartoons. And we've never seen actual footage of space. We only see what they gave us. So it's like,
hold up, I had to stop that right there. God damn. God damn. I'm talking about, I went in. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I gotta pat myself on the back. I went in just talking about space, man.
like now, we're living in the year 2022. And we've never seen actual footage of space. We only see what they gave us. So it's like now, we're living in the year 2020.
Hold up. I ran past that real quick. I'm gonna address that tomorrow night. But I ran past that real quick. You have never seen photos of the Earth from outer space. There's a handful of photos, and when you look at them, they're all flat across surfaces that they've tilted to the side and used GoPro lenses on. So, all I say is this. Everything you've ever learned about outer space, about planet Earth, has been through maps. It's been through television. Television introduced you to even knowing about maps as a kid because they showed them on like cartoons. So we began to like trust maps. Whatever they said these maps were, we agreed with them. We agreed that these maps were whatever they said they were. America is here, South America is here, Africa is here, Asia's here, Europe's here, yada, yada, yada. We agreed with all of that. Okay, that became our basic programming, and we followed that for years, all the way up until adulthood. This has been our basic operating system, as I told you in the other live stream. Our basic operating system is Hollywood. Hollywood gave us all of these commercials. Hollywood gave us all of these TV shows, all of these cartoons that we watched. This is where these things came from, Hollywood. So when I tell you Hollywood is our basic operating system, this is what I'm talking about. This is where we learn these concepts from. When I tell people, how the hell did they give us a concept of outer space and being on a planet that's supposedly revolving as it's spinning, as it's going around stuff, as it's going around stuff that's going around other stuff, that's going around other stuff, that's going around other stuff, and you're spinning in the galaxy, and you're spinning in the universe. Now that's a lot of spinning. That's at least a 10-fold spin. You're spinning 10-fold at least, or close to. You don't see evidence of none of that. You don't see anything different in the sky. You see the same stars, the same constellations, the same quote unquote planets, all of that. And I say that to say this. Most people are some denomination or some following that goes by the Bible or the Holy Quran. Both books talk about the Most High creating a solid foundation. The Bible even goes into talk about separating the waters from the waters, and nowhere in the Bible does it talk about other planets and people on other planets walking around doing shit, you know, kicking it. Bible ain't got no book of Mars, no book of Jupiter, no book of Saturn, no book of Uranus. Pause. You know. But you get where I'm coming from. There are no books about these planets and beings on these planets, because everything you've ever been told is a lie. I keep telling y'all that this is what's on my reels. When I say everything you've ever been told is a lie or it's been embellished and weaponized, that's the truth. You know, that's just fact. You know, you ain't got to take it, but you will see. You know, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna close out by catching a few more facts on this call with my man Tim Osmond, Infinite Planet Radio. You know, and then I'm gonna close out with you in a few moments. But I just had to kind of go in on the whole outer space thing, because there is no outer space; it's inner space. For those who know how deep that goes, you're a light being, and everything that you don't go out, you go in order to go out. Probably way over your head.
Only see what they gave us. Ever seen information as a kid, and then they give you cartoons, and we've never seen actual footage of space. We only see what they gave us. So it's like now we're living in the year 2022. We still haven't seen actual footage
2023
of anybody
now.
flying something.
As you can see, I did this interview 9 months ago. 9 months ago. This is nearly a year ago. I'm talking about stuff that I know is coming way ahead, not because I looked it up on some site. No, it's because I pay attention, my common sense. If I can watch what certain technology companies are doing, and I see where it's going, I can pretty much use my common sense and come up with something that I know they've already came up with. That's all that I'm saying. So, yeah, but I just had to throw that in there. My bad.
So it's like now, actual kid, and then they give you cartoons, and we've never seen actual footage of space. We only see what they gave us. So it's like now, we're living in the year 2022. We still haven't seen actual footage of anybody flying something from this atmosphere, breaking through and going into space and turning around and looking at the Earth. We should have type of technology. Come on, and we have smartphones, we have Wi-Fi, we have all this other shit, but we don't have anything that can.
Even today, they'll say, "Oh, there's a meteor that's going to hit us," and it's a cartoon. And you are onto something here. You really are, because
it's a cartoon, and that's why I think that, and that's why I think it leads us into the CGI and the metaverse. Think about it. The better the green screen and the blue screen technology gets, the better it gets, the more we can't tell if it's real or not. So they basically primed us from the time that we were like small children with the cartoons.
What did I tell you? They were priming us from the time we were small children. I said this almost a year ago. Almost a year ago. That's how long I've been working on this book. I've been spitting shit from this book for damn near 2 years. I keep telling y'all, this shit ain't a joke. When Andre 3000 stood up on the stage and he said, "Yo, the South got something to say," hey, Cincinnati got something to say.
And we're giving a can't tell if it's real or not. So they basically primed us from the time that we were like small children with the cartoons, and would be giving us this science class in school for something that we would never see. We'll never see outer space, because as many of us as children have said that we wanted to be an astronaut. Nobody knew how to go and become a goddamn astronaut. It's like you never knew anybody who was an actual astronaut who went into space. I don't know anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody that's an astronaut. So it's like it's something. It's one of those things where it's like it's a guardrail secret. So
I brought this same point up on another podcast. How many people know somebody that's an astronaut? How many people know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that's an astronaut? And I was greeted with a response about the sister that was on the spacecraft that blew up when we were children, when we had to sit with our legs crossed, and they brought the TV in the room and they made us watch the space shuttle go up, and it blew up and everything. That was purposeful traumatization. They traumatized us on purpose. They made us watch that on purpose, even though we didn't pay attention to the fact that the little escape pod or whatever something came out the side. But I'll just put it like this. I don't even think those people got into that space shuttle, because all of those people are still alive. Most of them were still alive and working afterwards for years. A decade later, they were still working at colleges as professors. Most of them had quote unquote twins, shit like that. But this is where I tell y'all, nothing around us is real. This entire reality has been hijacked, and it's scripted. And one of the the biggest secret is we create what we want, and we see small aspects of that when we go from being in poverty to becoming successful, or when we go from maybe being fat to like losing weight and getting buff. Where you make a complete transformation because you saw it in your head, and then you used your mind and you shaped your body to the way you wanted it to look naturally through natural processes. Where we are now in this whole technocratic society, everything is done fast. Everything is done overnight. You can go and get an ass. You can go and get a BBL, go and get you some titties, go and get you some lips, go and get you whatever you want. You can get the fat out of your stomach. You can look like what you want to look like, an avatar. This is why when I tell people that my book, Smartphones for Dumbass People, is about where we are now, how we got here, and where I think we're going, is because we're becoming avatars. They give us avatars for every site that we go on. Every site that we go on, we become an avatar. Whether you use your same name, there's usually a different avatar creation. Either you upload a photo or you create an avatar. In doing so, what you do is you create what's kind of like a straw man for yourself. If you know anything about, straw man legalities, but you create kind of a straw man for yourself. In doing so, you become a different entity for each platform you go on. But you know what? That's going too deep in that rabbit hole. I'm gonna go into all of that tomorrow night, but I'm gonna finish off on this.
deep that it's kept out of people even making it an everyday conversation. That's the reason I said nobody knows anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody for real that's an astronaut, because it's not something everybody just has in their family. Nobody has an Uncle Jesse who's an astronaut. You know what I mean?
It's not
Yeah, I
practical.
think you're right
Like
about this.
everything,
And space,
like everything that you're given has always been Hollywood movies, and it's been cartoons and Disney. Them two dudes was friends. That's the reason I said if we boys, Tim,
Warner Von
and
Braun and Walt
and
Disney.
you can make fake space, and I can create cartoons and Disney. Them two dudes was friends. That's the reason I said
Warner Von Braun and Walt Disney were best friends. One helped to create NASA, you know who, and the other was Walt Disney. So, in other words, one created an imaginary reality about space and about other things, and the other one supposedly went to space. Now, I think both these niggas created an imaginary reality, but they just scaled it up to what became our full reality. But yeah, I'm gonna stop interrupting y'all until I'm about to get out of here.
cartoons and Disney. Them two dudes was friends. That's the reason I said if we boys, Tim, and and you can make fake space, and I can create a fake world here. I'm like, dude, let's make some money off this,
yep,
and
exactly.
we can make this run forever.
And there's a point you brought up here about the cartooning of everything. And Douglas Trumbull, who did the special effects for Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey, said that their, quote, organic effects from 50 years ago look better than the CGI from 5 years ago, from 2 years ago. That basically the CGI is impressive, but it hasn't quite perfectly approximated reality yet. And I think it's intentional that if they continued to use real effects and make things real, we would become visually literate and we wouldn't be really entranced by bad CGI. But now bad CGI is everywhere, ubiquitous, and you don't even have a comparison. So I think they've rendered the masses visually dumbed down when it comes to processing organic versus synthetic.
Yep.
And I think that has been mission accomplished for the most part here. They cartoonified our reality, our concept of the
Oh
universe.
yeah, as long
Yo, and I'm gonna stop right there because I'm gonna pick up on that later on. Probably do something early tomorrow, you know, before I go live later on tomorrow night. But this is your man, Honorable October 9. This is the Art of Thinking Out Loud live. Common Sense Analytics, you know, nightly live stream. We're gonna go in on some more topics, but I know y'all probably wanted me to keep dragging this whole football situation, but that's not what I'm gonna do. That shit was fake. It is what it is. We got the TikTok videos, and if you want to go deeper into that, we may go into that some more tomorrow. Might get a guest on. But this your man, Honorable October 9. This is the Art of Thinking Out Loud live. Common Sense